Hi, my name is Attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I'm with Disability Resolution PA. Let's talk about human accessories and the difficulties you're going to have with those and explaining those with the administrative law judge hearing. Now, what is an ALJ hearing? It is a hearing set up for your disability benefits. Just go watch one of the other videos I've made if you want to know specifically what an ALJ hearing is. All right, let's begin. So the judge will be there, right? The judge will ask you questions relevant to your ability to go ahead and do certain things related to things like shirts, clothing, blouses, shoes, watches, belts, glasses, etc. Stuff that are human accessories, right? So, include whatever you want into that. Somebody cuts open their head and puts a little, horn on each side of their temple. That would be considered a human accessory, but we're not going to be going into that because I just too tired today. Anyways, let's begin. When the judge asks you, do you have difficulty getting dressed? Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. A lot of claimants that I get, especially from other attorneys where they're pissed off and they came from a hearing where their attorney didn't really prep them at all, the big box firms, awful firms. Those firms do not prep their claimants. So when I'm like, okay, let's talk about your basics. What's your most severe physical impairment? What's your most severe mental impairment? What's your, bullet point list? What are all of your other impairments? They don't even know. They don't even know. They're like sitting there for like 5 minutes going like, yeah, I'm not sure. I have to think of, maybe eat some pizza and then think about it a little bit more. If you don't know, and then there will be somebody in the comments like, I have memory issues. If you don't know what your impairments are, bad. Okay. Your impairments dictate what your limitations are when it comes to human accessories. So when it comes to putting on a shirt, do you have a hard time reaching upwards? Do you have a hard time guiding your arms? Do you have a hard time tying knots and ties or scarves or whatever? Do you have a hard time tucking in your shirt? Do you have a hard time buttoning buttons? That's a big one for fine manipulative detail of your fingers. Do you have a hard time fixing a collar? Do you have a hard time pulling open a drawer? Do you have a hard time opening a dresser? Do you have a hard time using belt loops? I do. I don't know what's wrong with that. I don't know why. Do you have a hard time using zippers? I jam them every time. I get careful. I try. I don't know what it is. Do you have a hard time pulling open pants? Do you have a hard time using non-stretch pants? Do you have a hard time fitting into pants? Do you have a hard time putting on suspenders? Do you have a hard time tying shoes? Do you have a hard time lifting shoes? Do you have a hard time bending down for shoes? Do you have to use slip-on shoes? Do you have to use sandals, flip-flops? Do you have a hard time buckling buckles? Do you have a hard time wrapping things around things? Do you have a hard time take pressured restrictions, such as where if you're wearing a belt and it creates pressure around your body? Do you have a hard time feeling pressure? Do you have a hard time seeing small details like on a wristwatch? What time it is, showing up on your hearing on time so that I don't have to go in front of the judge and defend you for being an idiot for showing up an hour late, even though the judge started 45 minutes late from the prior hearing going over, which happened last week. Twice. Do you have a hard time having metal on your skin? Okay, some people have allergic reactions to things. Do you have a hard time holding up weight? Do you have a hard time having rubber on your skin? Do you have a hard time remembering where you place things? Like I do, because I'm constantly working, so I put things down somewhere. That's why everything gets scanned. I don't keep any paper. Do you have a hard time putting things away? Do you have a hard time hanging things, like on a hanger, not people? Because I know a lot of you guys are sick. Do you have a hard time lifting items, right? Think of like shirts and then hanging them up and doing that kind of stuff. Do you have a hard time brushing clothing? So some of you in America, it's not really a big thing, but in Europe, a lot of people will brush their wool items. So something to consider there. Do you have a hard time cleaning glasses? Do you have a hard time putting on glasses? Do you have a hard time finding glasses? Do you have a hard time pulling on socks? Do you have a hard time feeling the restriction, compression from your socks? Do you sweat a lot in your socks? Do you have a hard time feeling your toes? These are all questions that you should be utilizing to get your brain going in the right direction for what it is realistically that you should be thinking about when it comes to your ability to do getting dressed or just having accessories on your body. Do you have a hard time putting earrings on, and lining it up and then getting the little thing on the back? Blah, 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 blah. Do you have a hard time putting bracelets on? Do you have a hard time putting a necklace on? Think of all these things because it's important for your testimony to show how you're limited in doing basic functions that a human can normally do. Right? Because that's what we're talking about here. There's work restrictions and home restrictions. There's work restrictions and home. There's work and home restrictions. That's all you got to know about. Work restrictions, home restrictions. Work restrictions. Difficulty with using the photocopier. Can't climb up the stairs to get into the building. Have a hard time focusing or concentrating on a piece of paper about instructions of not how to kill yourself. Home restrictions. Interacting with pets, kids, family members. Having to clean, cook, whatever. Do your laundry. Work, home. These are what they're looking for in the hearing to know about your restrictions. Those are the two categories. Split it up in your head and start to think about all the things that you have difficulty with and write them down. Make a list because you will forget what they are, and then scan that list if you can. All right? My name is Attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. I'm with Disability Resolution PA, an Orlando, Orange County-based Social Security disability law firm. If you want the information, bio area. If you want me to make a video, I'm making a website page where you just write it on the list. Because I can't keep track. Here's why. I put a list on my phone, and then the phone died because of an accident while I was jet boating. But the bottom line is I can't, you put it on the list, and then from there I'll review it and go through it all and then have a better idea as to what's going on with you, okay? So, if you want a video on this and a video on that and a video on that, put it all on the list. That way it's on the server and I don't have to worry about it. All right, if you want the most up-to-date information, give me a call. If you want me to go through your particular situation, that's fine. If you have another attorney, I can only give you a second opinion, so just keep that in mind. If you want to fire your attorney and hire somebody like me or anybody in your area, that's fine. I can walk you through how that works. Don't wing disability benefits if you're serious about them. I know a lot of people are like, well, I'll try filing. And they're not really that serious about them. But if you're serious, you're you need these benefits to survive, then don't wing it. Get an attorney. Don't get a non-legal rep. I've read these websites where non-legal reps are amazing. Sometimes they're better than an attorney. And as I read through them, I'm just laughing so hard. And then I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, these people are going to it's going to take them 12 years to get disability benefits. And yeah, it sucks because a lot of those people that get screwed over by those people, it's a cataclysmic ongoing failure situation. And then they get hooked on drugs and they're miserable because the pain's so bad and they need something to mask the pain and they don't know what to do with their body. And then all of a sudden they're, giving their car away because they spent it on drugs or they lent it to the drug dealer and blah, 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 so on and so forth. So please just hire a great attorney to begin with. Don't buy into the big box firm. You just don't. Because you're going to be super upset and miserable. And then literally you're going to watch this video. And this is what happens. You guys you do that. You get a big box attorney. Then you watch one of these videos and then 3 years later you're like, if only I'd known. If only I'd known. Because, you've got you've got ultra anger at that. I get calls from people I didn't know. And they're screaming at me. You know what I mean? They're just losing their bleep on the phone. And I'm just sitting there going, and keep in mind, I always do two things while I'm doing phone calls. So they'll be doing that, I'm writing a brief. Or they'll be doing that, I'm working on something. And they flip their canoodle and they're just going insane. I get it, but it's not my fault. I get why you're angry, but you need to calm down and realize you got to do it the right way the first time. Otherwise, you got to do it again. All right. My name is Attorney Walter Rudolph Hnot III. Next video we're going to do is personal upkeep, and those are the types of questions you should be asking yourself relevant to whether or not you can do those functions so that when the judge asks you in the administrative law judge hearing, you're ready to go. All right. Have an absolutely wonderful day. I hope all is well, and in the near future, hopefully I'll be moving to my future home. So if you get a chance to put something in the video and you watch this whole video at this point, put something in the video remarks that says, congratulations, if of course the mortgage lender gives me the loan that I want for the perfect home. So I'll catch you later. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.